to another edition of Mr. Black Show, man. Y'all already know. The people who may not know, I'm Mr. Black, and this is my show. Please subscribe, like, comment, and hit that bell icon to get notification of the next edition of the Mr. Black Show. Today, my guest, man, we spent at least 30 minutes in pre-production just talking, smoking. He wasn't smoking because he's a father and a husband, so you gotta be a good example to his kids. Just in case they watch it. But man, we had a great conversation, man. But again, please, everybody, welcome Drew versus the World, man. This man is dope as hell, man. He has shows where he interviews business owners, people talk about sex, podcasts, a well array of people you interview. You may learn something, but man, I'm talking too much, man. Drew, man, talk to the people, man. Talk to us.
First and foremost, thank you. If my children are listening to this, don't listen to this. Daddy's gonna curse a lot. But so my whole thing is getting inspiration through information from Through the Rest of the World podcast. What I want to do is inspire somebody with somebody else's story. So I, like you say, have a wide array of people come on and let them explain the why of what they do, on a day-to-day basis. So even if it's somebody that has a sex podcast, why you had that sex podcast? Why are you sex positive? What is your kinks? What is your phobias? What is the things that you love to do? If somebody has a business, why they started a business, how they become an entrepreneur, how they continue that business and things like that. So it just kind of dawned on me that, hey, listen, like I said to you, I can talk to a brick wall and have a conversation for at least 15 minutes. So I might as well put this thing on wax and, share with the people. So again, first and foremost, thank you for allowing me to be on the Mr. Black show. And shit, let's get it started, man.
Yeah, man. First things first, man. So Drew, how you came up with the name of your show? Why Drew versus the World?
So interesting story. So the first episode, well, let me do even before that. I was thinking about doing something in my life that's different than what I do now. So I'm a technologist. So I deal with like coding, programming, infrastructure, and like data analysis, things like that. So more on the technical side, I was like, let me try to find something that's outside my realm. And I was like, okay, I started with doing photography. I was like, that ain't it. I didn't have the eye for it. I didn't have the patience. I didn't have none of that. I was like, I'm not going to learn this no time soon. So my homeboy, Jason, shout out to Jason, shout out to Grow House Studios, and also shout out to That's My Shit podcast.
Okay.
He put me on. He's like, listen, man, like, why don't you just do a podcast? I'm like, what? Because I listen to podcasts like religiously, Joe Rogan podcast, Brilliant Idiots, Joe Buttons at times, once in a while. The Doughboys, like there are a bunch of other like podcasts that are like split genres. So I listen to like hip hop podcasts, to informational podcasts, to comedy podcasts from people that are Black, white, Chinese, Asian, all these different types of. Those are New York signs in the background. I love it. And from everybody in the different types of backgrounds, right? So he said like, hey, let's sit down and talk about it. So we sit down and talk about it with a bunch of our friends, and they're going through things like, hey, they want to do their clothing line. One person wants to do rapping. So we're all just having like a brain melding session of like giving ideas out of how we're going to expand ourselves and grow each other while using each other. Right.
Wait. People actually do that?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's funny. That's how I've gotten a couple of my ideas off, honestly. My first idea, I had a business when I was about 25, and we did a mobile hair business. So
Oh,
what
that's
we did,
fire.
yeah, we created a site that you could go on and you can request to have somebody come and do your hair. And then we moved it from there to here to makeup, and that's how I got to it. Was we sitting down, somebody brought this to me, like one of my frat brothers, his wife, both of their wives brought it to me and was like, hey, you're good with technology, can you help us out here? And I was like, okay. And I have a good understanding of business acumen and stuff like that. So I helped them out with that. And that's how I started that business. So a lot of the time, even with this, we sat around and they wanted to do a bunch of stuff. And again, I'm not creative and no stretch of the imagination, but I love creativity. I love it. Like I love, and I
Oh,
like even that I think that's still Cole in the background. I enjoyed looking at it because I see the and I understand the animator who created that. I understand their passion, what was behind it, how long it took them. They had to do all this. I leaned on my homeboy Jason, my homeboy Randall, Reggie, EJ, and my homeboy he called himself Saratoga Starks, but Tavon. We all kind of like sat down together and just kind of like talking about how we're gonna like what we're gonna do. And I'm like, yeah, I want to do a podcast and I want to do this and I want to do that. And I like this is kind of like realm and we just kind of going around, batting around ideas. And I was like, the main thing I want to do is sit down with people of different like ranges and varieties of people because that's the type of people I like to listen to. Like Joe Rogan, he can have like you said, Alex Jones to a Kanye West to a Dana Patrick to Cameron Haynes to like so many like why did he have UFC fighter to a peacemaker in the same week? So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, it's such a wide swath of people. So I was like, I want to fit that shit into my mind because that's this type of stuff I like to do. Like to talk to everybody.
Wow.
Like I could go in a bar, I can talk to somebody at the bar that's a bartender. I could talk to somebody who owns the bar. I don't care who you are. I will talk to you because everybody has shared life experiences. Why don't we exemplify that to one another? Because it would just bring us more closer together. Because if you had the shared experience that I did have, we can talk something out the bat. We don't even know we can have something in common. We don't even know about it until you talk about it. But
Wow.
needless to say,
Wow.
so I was like, yeah, this can be like I want to do something. I forgot what the other names were, but I gotta credit him for this. EJ, my
Mhm.
homeboy EJ, he's from Rock Hill, South Carolina, a real country dude. He was like, I was like, man, I just want to do something where I'm just kind of like I just want to do something where I'm just getting everybody together, and I want to make sure that everybody's point of view. I want to touch on everybody's why and things like. He was like, man, it's like kind of like you versus the world, man. You just want to kind of. I was like, what? He's like kind of like you versus the world, and then Homo Randall was like, yeah, Drew versus the world. That's where it's. At. I was like, hmm.
I like
I was
that.
like, Drew versus the world. He's like, yeah, you. I mean, and my normal day, I'm very combative. Like I'm like if like I'm a contrarian by day on like everything. So that's how they know me. Like if somebody puts up a viewpoint, I'm like looking for the opposite viewpoint just to like frazzle them. So they was like, yeah, Drew
Frazzle.
versus
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
just to like
Big words.
yeah, just to like get them into like an uncomfortable place. And they was like Drew versus the world, and I was like, damn, yeah, I love it. And I haven't moved back past it.
Wow.
It's been again, it's been a good journey. And it's funny when people come on podcasts and they talk to me, they think I'm going to be combative. And I'm the most like humble, like, hey man, I just take a step back. The reason why I do it versus the world is because I want to know how you're experiencing the world. It's not me versus you. It's I want to know, like, that's why I always put my titles in my podcast. I'm like, if it's going to be like, it's going to be Molly Q's versus the world, it's like, how do you interact with this thing we call the world?
I noticed you do the. So it sounds like even just you explaining your journey on how you
Mhm.
became Drew versus the world, it sounds like you have many different interests.
Oh
The
yeah.
fact that you mentioned a frat brother, the fact
Hmm.
that you mentioned you was into sports, you was
Hmm.
into track and stuff. It makes sense why it be you versus the world because you know so much about the world. So
Yes.
that is like a good play on that with so people know you personally and how your output, how you view him. Look like, yo, he's basically him versus the world because he could take on the world and probably win. Dang, like I got mad for no reason.
That's what I hope because it's funny that you say that though because I went to Thailand a year back and you know how you go somewhere and you feel you're supposed to feel uncomfortable. I don't think I've ever feel uncomfortable. I've always felt like I can travel even when I'm the obvious minority. I always feel like, hey, I could blend in. I could blend in like a fucking chameleon there, like easily. I'll literally, my first thing I go to is the bar. I always go to the local bar. Like if I go to a different state, if I go to the country, if I go to anywhere, to the
Why?
local bar, because that's where you see people's flaws. You see people get their inhibitions taken down. You see people become real and raw and empty. And you see people hungry. You see people thirsty. You see people trying to get pussy. Like you're seeing all these different types of varieties of different people there. You're not going to see that anywhere else. You're not going to see that in the business. People are not going to show that type of lifestyle to you. It needs to be there because they're there to do so many different things at one time. And you can, normally when I sit down at the bar, I mean, I literally can like see somebody across the way and be like, okay, I can empathize with that person some way, somehow. I've been there once in a blue moon, Um, yeah. So that's where the
Makes
kind of the
sense.
versus the world part comes to, is just like you said, is I just wanted, I have so much experience, life experience, but not all the life experience. So that's why I want my guests to give me all the life experience from their experiences.
So were you always this confident growing up?
No, man, I thought I was an ugly nigga till about uh, till about 11th grade. 11th grade,
Oh
I always
man.
thought, I always thought I was an ugly nigga. I'm not even gonna front on you. Um, and I might still be, right? Um, but, but
Yo,
I,
nigga, funny.
but
Nigga, funny.
but I always, it's funny because I came when I came to that realization, I was like, man, I'm just ugly nigga, man. I was like, and we talked about this before, but I could dance my ass off. I can talk. I can, I have a good head on my shoulders, you know. So even though I'm ugly nigga, I have these different personality traits that can help me get women and eventually pussy. It's just I mean, I lost my virginity early and I'm like, maybe like at 11th grade, I'm like, okay, girls started like find me attractive because I had braids in my hair, I had a little bit of money, I had a job, and then how, women kind of gravitate to somebody that they see kind of like future prosperity. So I was getting decent grades, I was running tracks, my body was on point. So it was like, okay, evolution part two, let's go. And I would say that I got my confidence really instilled in me when I went to college, and I went to a predominantly black school, an HBCU, called John C. Smith University here in Charlotte, and that really kind of like put me on like, okay, like this shit ain't too bad, life ain't too bad. Life is pretty much, that's when I started smoking weed, I started drinking, I started really partying hard. I'm just like, life ain't like, how your parents give you this like wide like, this shit's so hard, this shit's so hard, but like it's as hard as you mentally make it. Life's gonna be hard regardless, but you gotta in the mental be someplace where you're making it a little bit easier for yourself, because at the end of the day, you don't want that shit to break. Your mental cannot break. Once that breaks, your body breaks down, everything breaks down. So to answer your question, no, I've not been that confident. I was the nigga getting shitted on in the dances and all that stuff, and I was the person that was I remember one instance very vividly. So there was the Valentine's Day dance, and I knew, I was in love with this girl. Her name was Lauren. I was in love with her. Like it's sixth grade. I'm like in love with this girl, right? She had dreadlocks. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be my thing for the rest of my life, right? She was dreadlocks. She was a little brown skin joint. She like me and her grew up together. Like we used to go to a school called PS11. I don't care if she hears this because because I used to like everybody knew it. I used to love this girl. And so we had this Valentine's Day party and everybody knows and everything like that. So I think my homeboy David, he tries to get her to dance with me. So he's like talking to her and she's trying to get little fast ass kids. But she tries to get him, yeah, she tries to get him to dance her to dance with me. And she's like, no, I don't want to dance with him. Like, he ugly. I'm like, and this, I'm like, damn, just kill my spirits. I just, I remember that till this day. And I hope, I hope she's prospering. I hope she's doing good. I mean, I follow her on Facebook. I know she, she still look good. But I'm like, at that time, I felt like, I was like, damn, I feel like the lowest of my life. And then it's funny after that, and it's funny how you can change your whole persona when you just get out of that friend group. So I left my elementary school. I went to junior high school, and I was a completely different person. I was a nigga not going to class. I was sneaking. I was getting into fights. Like, I literally got kicked out this good ass like program. Like, it's called. It was like for gifted students, and it was gonna be AP classes and all that. And because the first day I was in class, somebody stepped to me and I beat his ass with a chair, and it was like done, like awesome WrestleMania shit. And I just beat his ass with a chair because I had anger issues, and I didn't know that. So in that same instance, I was sent to the office, and after like 7 or 10 fights, they put me like to counseling. It was like, hey, you have anger issues. You need to solve that shit. So in not being confident, I think I built that anger up too. Just like, hey, I can knock anybody the fuck out who I want, like, and who's gonna step to me. This is how I took my anger out on people. And I wanted, that's how I thought I regained my confidence, because after a fight, everybody be like, you the man, you the man, you the man. Like, you, I see you, I see you, I see you. Like all that stuff, like from drug dealers to regular people, you know what I'm saying? So then I gained that confidence. So I had my first little like joint then. I lost my virginity then in junior high school, and then I got a nice little light skin joint too at the end of junior high school during during summer school. So I was like, okay, I'm evolving, and then in high school I would just kind of like diminish my level because I went to Spanish high school, so it became like, okay, now I know that I'm not the top enchilada here, so I became very self-conscious, self-conscious. So self-conscious, anxious, and had like no confidence in the world until, again, like I said, 11th grade, my stock just blew up. Like my stock just blew up. That shit went up like Tesla. I was like riding the wave.
Bars.
Yeah. I was like riding the wave, and I was like, okay, I'm an ugly nigga, but I got good personality. So let me keep this shit moving. And then college just accentuated that to the antithesis of everything, because then I'm from New York. I'm exotic as fuck. Like, I'm from New York. I'm in the South. Like, like you don't know what a fucking bodega is, chick. Like, I'm telling you, this chick's crazy. And they're like, oh yeah. This is when I had my accent and everything. Like, it was like, it became a big deal. But again, to go to, I went through my whole life story, but to go to,
No. You good. This is
but
good stuff.
but to answer your question, no, I didn't have this confidence. It kind of built up, and now I really want to say that confidence is important, but like I said before, knowing yourself is the most important part. Knowing that you are the gem that you have, like you are the gem. I don't care if you're a dirty ass gem, you are a gem. Everybody's a gem. They're different gems, but they are gems, and they have worthiness. They have value. I don't care who you are or what you're doing, you have value. Everybody should know that. And every day you get up, wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, look at yourself. I don't care if you have to look in your glasses, just or talk to yourself, say you have value, and go off on the rest of your day, because you do have value.
800% right. The one thing that I realize isn't important is, especially in young black men, is knowing who you are at a young age and not so much later. I want to ask you this: Did you have Did you have both parents growing up?
No. Well, I think I had it better than my friends. So I had my mother, and then I had my father. But my father wasn't in the house, obviously. But I knew him, so throughout my life, he would come around to things like that. So I wouldn't say he was like outside of my life, but then I had like uncles and shit like that. So I had it. I wouldn't say my situation was. anything to like sleep on.
So you had a lot of male figures around you. You
Even
still
like
have.
even hood niggas, like I learned from them too. Like the but the thing is, you can't get wrapped up in that shit. But you have to learn from them.
You have to.
You have to learn from them because when I was walking down the street in the dark and a nigga roll up on me, like you have to know that okay, if somebody coming with you, like if that person is coming on you, you have to know exactly what you need to do, the next steps of how you need to react. Either are you going to fight this nigga or are you going to run your shit? Like, and if you run your shit, how you going to run your shit, and how you got to look at their face to take a mental image because you know that nigga live on a block, and then when you see him next time, what needs to happen. So it, but then you need to learn from the people that's in the library because you still need to pass the schooling because because you still don't want to be that hood nigga, but you still need to learn from them. But yeah, male figures. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, interrupt
I
your
definitely
question.
agree. No, 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 no. I definitely agree with you. Like, yo, one thing I realized that you need a balance.
Mm-hmm.
You need righteous and ratchetness. Because for me, is I grew up around a lot of hood niggas, and even though when I'm not trying, I still resonates the sense of I'm no one to mess with.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? I could still go into places and look intimidating. That's just how my nature is. But also, I had to understand I could put that on and off switch all the time. I'm
Yes.
still the same person around when I have to be proper, but I still take that I'm no one to play with, and I just translate it in a language for you to understand. So instead of say, "Yo, my nigga, real talk," I go, "Listen here, sir. Don't
Exactly.
disrespect me on the level that I deserve to be respected. I did not come at you any type of way, sir. So please, 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 hopefully that you will respect my wishes." Boom. Still
Exactly.
the same exact force, but I use it in a way for you to understand it. So I definitely agree with you that you need knowledge from both ways because a lot of us black men, we cannot just be one way because we
Yes.
cannot prosper. We got to be both ways because such as if you are a dude that who's just been on the sidewalk throughout his whole life, yo, you're gonna be certain type of way and you're gonna be food and you're gonna not know how to operate around predators in real
Mm-hmm.
life. Because hood niggas are predators at the end of the day. There's no
Yes.
difference between a a white collar predator and from a blue collar predator. There's no
Mm-hmm.
difference. Only thing about it is the collar is different. So when you
Yes.
learn how to navigate around hood niggas, you know how to navigate against these dude in corporate who try to destroy you. You looking like, yo, bro, don't know. Like, I'm the one to play with. And sometimes you gotta intimidate people. But you
Mm-hmm.
learn that from messing around hood dudes and the smart kids, they teach you that, yo, you have to outsmart somebody just by not saying not one word. They teach you
Yep.
how to be patient to execute your attacks. But the hood
Yes.
niggas teach you how to prepare for war. So
Mm-hmm.
you need both. So even in the army, you need those crazy dudes who will go out and defend their base, but you also need the dudes that were able to say, "Nah, let's head back." Even with the whole freedom, with the whole civil rights right now, you need a Dr. King and you need a Malcolm X.
Yes.
A lot of people don't understand that. Even now, we need a Jay Z, but at the same time, we need a what's that dude's name? The light skinned dude. We need a Black Lives Matter movement because
Mm-hmm.
they take care of what's in the ground. But we all need people in Senate. That's why I
Yep.
tell people, yo, we all can be podcasters, rappers. That's dope and everything like that. But we need more people that look like us in every position in life to
Yes.
to to change the system. Because the system is not broken. It works, but not for us.
Hmm.
You feel
So
me?
yeah, I agree because you need like to say that balance because you need that warrior, but that warrior to be a general needs to also have the strategic mindset. So he's been through war, he knows how to fight the war, but he also needs strategic mindset to be brilliant to be able to lead the army. That what makes you a good overall person. And to the whole civil rights thing, I don't, this system, like you said, is not for us. It's not built for us. It wasn't built for us. I don't think we need to be a part of the system. We need to rewrite the system. The system needs to be overwritten because even like the Constitution is not taking into account who we are now. Constitution initially was when we were 2/3 of a person. I'm not even
Yeah,
2/3, 1/3 or 1/5 of a
yeah,
person.
yeah. Not even a
So
full person. Yeah,
exactly. So they're not taking into account how magnificent we are now.
yeah.
How ingrained in culture from the United States to motherfuckers in Japan wanted to be us. Motherfuckers in India wanted to be us.
Yeah.
People they nobody thought we would our culture would expand this far. And I think it's time for us to not just have this same rhetoric. It's time to for us to evolve the system. And I think we're staying
I agree
stagnant.
with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But I felt that this may sound a little biased, but like kind of outrageous. But Obama winning kind of set us back our mindset because we
Yeah.
got comfortable. And
That's
then
hmm
we got comfortable. And President Trump was one of the best things that could happen to black people because it woke us up and we
yes.
came more together.
Yes.
You saw the rise of more black people helping each other out. And instead of fighting each other, we actually try to come together. There's more middle grounds when it comes to us. So it forces us to participate in local elections. It forces us to start our own businesses. It's forced us to tell our own story on television and throughout the whole it's just media in general that
Mhm.
we're allowed to talk about mental health. We're allowed to talk about our past experience. But at the same token, yo, you could be a hood dude, but understand that that's gonna look down on because we try to strive for better.
Exactly.
You understand? Like a lot of hood dudes, like yo, 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 my nigga. We look at them like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're obsolete now. You're
Yeah, yeah,
obsolete.
slowly dying. And a lot of hood dudes, you see them working IT, pants sagging, but you talking about, yo, my nigga, yo, real talk, son. I'm trying to stack this paper, dude. Yeah, man, I got this money. Dang, son, you got like, yo, I know about all about businesses. I've been reading. Like, yo, that's what's up. Because we
Mm-hmm.
changed the mindset. Because
Yep.
back in the day, if you didn't notice, it wasn't cool to be smart. It
Nope.
wasn't cool to wear glasses.
Nope.
Now we go back and realize, yo, Steve was mad dope. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
appreciate Steve
Nope.
until now. Think about it. Steve played ball. Nice. Yo, son was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Son was nice. My son knew how to chef it up in his own
Mm-hmm.
unique way. Steve, no matter what happens, he stayed true to himself. Like
Yep.
he stayed a nerd and he evolved throughout the whole thing. Steve, come on, which one's better? Yeah, Stefan was a little model, but Steve went to space. Come on. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. You understand?
Yeah.
And Myra looked way better than Laura. I'm sorry. Like, yo, Myra had the cake. I was like, dang. Laura was still bad though. You
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
me?
I was gonna say. I was gonna say. First season Laura was kind of fire.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I
but
mean,
shout out to R.I.P. to Myra
of
though.
course,
R.I.P.
of course. R.P. to her. But even Laura look good now with her mom looking body.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Get it. She still can get it. Listen, I always say black women age like fine wine because
Mm-hmm.
once they get close to their 30s, come on, you could relate
Evolution.
to this.
It's the
You could
evolution,
relate.
man. It's the evolution, man. It's just they get. I don't know what it is. It's just I don't know if the juices just fall in the right place, but it just everything. All the natural hair comes in. All the like. Mm-hmm. 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 It's like. It's like.
You, our viewers my always be look like this nigga black is weird, son. Yeah, listen, I don't know. This is about to get actual weirder, man. So tell me about your background, man. Like, tell me about how you grew up. Walk people through your life.
Um, I mean, shit, man. I mean, I grew up pretty chill, man. I'm not even gonna lie to nobody. I think I was very fortunate to have a lot of family in New York. So I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York.
You have a Caribbean background or what?
Yeah, Barbados. My mom's from Barbados.
What
Um,
about your dad?
my dad's from Barbados. Well, he's from New York, but his mom is from Barbados. And what you call it? My grandfather's actually from Panama. Um, So I have that Latin fire, Latino heat, if I may say.
Heads.
You saw what I did there.
You
But
did. You did.
uh, but so I kind of grew up very like, I would say, ingrained in my books majority of the time, but also I have athletic background, so I was into running, into biking, into being outside most of the time, and just after little bit, it evolved into just being outside a little too much, sitting on the street, on the corner, shit like that. Like I wasn't a trapper or nothing like that, but again, like I said, I knew who was, and it was like a lot of the time, just go past, what's up, little nigga? Like hey, like here, I hit you with like $100, $200. Be like, all right, go to the grocery store for me real quick. Go to the grocery store, bring something back. Be like, all right, you keep the change. So it should be like little shit like that, or just be somebody messing with you in the park or something like that. They roll up on you because New York has like parks every 2 minutes, 2 seconds. So
On
around my
top
corner,
of parks.
exactly around my corner used to be like 3 or 4 parks. So you just like stuff like that. But
Which part of Brooklyn?
Fort Greene.
Oh
For
yeah.
Green, like Clinton Hill area, like over
Yeah,
there where
yeah.
LG Projects is,
Yeah.
like in that area. 368 Washington Avenue. I will buy that place. This is I'm putting this on Mr. Black's show. My dream is to buy my old home. Because we lost it because my mom fell on some bad times. But
Damn.
I will buy it back. This is not a if, this is not a maybe. I
This is
will
a
buy
way.
it back. I will buy it back. I
Wait,
don't
wait, wait,
care
wait,
if
wait, wait.
I don't care if it's $3 trillion. I will buy that house back.
So what? How? Dang. How your mother ended up in losing the house? What happened?
So she fell on some hard times. Basically, it was like her health diminished, so her job. So she had to like couldn't get to work a lot of the times. So then her job kind of was like, you can't be. She was a nurse too, so her job, and
Damn.
she had to go all the way out to Queens Jamaica Hospital, and uh majority of the time she would either be late or she wouldn't be able to go because she wasn't feeling well. So her job just kind of like cut her off. But it's funny about my mom though, because my mom's funny. She never said why. Just one day she just stopped going to work, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like why my mom always home all the time, right? And I'm like, because my mom used to be like, mover and shaker. She used to get up, because she would go to work at nights and during the day, like my aunt used to live with us. So my aunt used to just take care of us during the day or whatever, whatever. And I mean, at night. So she just stopped coming. She stopped going to work. I'm like, why is she here all the time? Like usually she just be here for a couple of days because, she get off of work. So then, things start falling in the house. Things start, she started trying to get people to like rent out rooms and stuff like that. That was falling
Wow.
out. She's trying to get the place a little built up so I guess she could like get certain things and people to come and get it. And then eventually she just had to sell it because it's like she couldn't take care of the upkeep. So one day it was just like, listen, like next month we move in. So I think it was high school or junior high school. I We moved to Brownsville in the '90s and moved to that building. And the money she got off of that building, she ended up buying that building too. And she owned all the hotels in that building. I mean, all the rooms in that building. And then after that, she ended up losing that too because again, she had no way to really like compensate for all the things that were breaking and shit like that. So she sold it to somebody else, and the person that allowed us to stay there. And then it was just like, here we are from ownership to renting in the matter of like what 7 maybe 8 years. So that was so again, I will buy that house back. It's not a ifs, ands, or buts, and
Dang.
that's gonna be my gift to my mom. I don't care what I have to do for it.
So your mother is still in New York?
No, I actually moved it down here. She lives in a place not too far away from here that I used to live in. Um, yeah.
Dang.
Hmm.
Dang, man. Dang, man, that's like a mad. It's a sad story, but that's one thing about life is the future is mad unclear. And funny thing about this, I started looking at life as a movie. And when I start watching movies, say, "Oh, you can't wrap all that up in an hour and a half, however long the movie is." I started seeing movies as more as life. So when the character end up winning at the end, I make up like a real date. I say it may take like 2 or 3 years, but when you finally buy that house, it won't feel that long. It'll feel like one day you woke up and you buy it, and then when you tell that story to your kids, it felt like it only happened within a 30-minute story you telling them it. But it took you so long just to get to this point. Oh, however long it takes.
Yep.
Dang, man, that's mad inspirational, dogs. Like, you ain't playing for yourself. You're really playing for the people around you, man. Like, you put the whole weight on your shoulder, looking like when I get to that spot, I can rest. Until then,
Yep.
I'm not
Until then,
resting.
there's no resting.
Dang, man, that's mad inspirational. Dang, son. Dang. So, what was the moment you was doing your show and you was just like, I'm doing this for the rest of my life?
This show? I don't know, man. I haven't been doing that long to say I'm doing it for the rest of my life, but I would say that the moment I thought it was something that I'm going to continue doing, it was when I had my first show, honestly. One thing I am is a person of creature of habit. So a creature of habit, but also creature of like I'd rather see something through and wait for the wheels to fall down off before I actually let this go. When I released my first episode, I was like, shit, I'm here now. Like, fuck it. Like, might as well go all the way. And I haven't seen any desperation of guests. I haven't seen anybody kind of like blow me off. I've seen a bunch of people blow me off, but I haven't seen anybody like, hey, I don't fuck with this interview. Don't, I don't fuck with this guy or anything like that. All in all, it's been good vibes.
Wow. Wow. I
Yeah.
mean,
Maybe
so
because I
what
make it. Maybe because I make it good vibes. It might. People might hate my guts, but I don't give a fuck.
so how do you stay like what's the question I'm looking for? How do you stay consistent? What
Hmm.
advice do you have people out there? They start their own podcast, maybe similar to ours. What advice would you give to them?
Stay organized. Number one thing that I feel like I was daunting on before was that I wasn't organized. I didn't have schedules. Um, have the correct note. Like if you're going to have a calendar, saved my life. Being able to schedule people and have them confirm, make sure that it's on your calendar, and make sure that it's on your phone calendar too. That's super beneficial, so that you can track when people are coming on and when you have to release these episodes. Have a calendar. Well, also what I use is a guest form. So you guys have to fill out a guest form too. Is that just get everybody's information up front so that when you do upload your episodes, you have all information to upload to your episode
So
description.
where you get like a guest form from?
So I use Google Forms. It's free. And you can just send it to people and it's pretty like easy and it's simple as shit. I learned that from recently from Podcast Expo. This Podcast Expo they had on virtually was free too, and they had Black Podcast Collective. One guy he was talking, he was like, "Yeah, I use a guest form." I was like, "Shit, that'll be easy because I usually have to chase after guests and be like, hey, can you give me a short bio? Can you give me your name? Can you give me a picture that I can use for the social media posts?" And then some people get it to me, some people have to get it from their IG. Some people have to get it from the Facebook. But all in all, it's
Guest
like
form.
yeah, it makes life a lot easier, man. And it compiles all the information in one place so that if you really want to, you could just export it as a Excel file, and then you can see all your guests that you had for the year there, and all the information that they gave you throughout the year. And the other thing I did is get a separate email for your podcast than your
Okay.
regular email.
That I know.
That's super important. Like some people are
Definitely.
like missed like sweet pants at something at gmail.com. I'm like, oh, that you're getting everything at that email. Like you need to parts that it's free. Emails are free now. You don't have to pay for them anymore. So that's one thing. And then just I would say mix and match. Like this whole thing is finding the right thing that works for you. So if like I use Squadcast at one point, I used StreamYard at one point, I used Skype, I used Zoom. Like just try them all and see what works for you.
So which one do you like the most?
I right now for audio I like Squadcast. For video I like StreamYard.
Yeah, StreamYard is nice.
Yeah,
StreamYard is
just
nice.
StreamYard just because I saw you guys using it. Ha! I saw that. I was like, I better get that shout out later. But I'm waiting for the episode to get the shout out. Put that in the front.
Got you.
No, but I saw that and I was like, oh, that's dope. But yeah, so just trial and error, just trying to find everything. So to boil it down,
you gave me some
scheduling.
tips.
Yeah, scheduling. Get a calendar.
Guest form.
Get an email separate, and try to find what your the perfect like device that can capture your podcast. So if you're going to do it in person, find that the mics. If you're going to do it virtual, find the right application.
Okay, so break down what do you put on a guest form? Like, do you write out the questions or Google does it for you?
So you write out the questions. You just write out what the questions that are more beneficial to you. So I ask, what's your first name, your last name, your IG, your social medias, your website, your give me a short bio, give me something that give me a picture of yourself and a picture of your business, and then any events coming up. That's it.
And they type it and email you right back to you.
No, you don't even need to email it to you. It automatically uploads to the form. So you can see when they finish the form because they click submit, and you can go in there and look at the response.
Yo, thank you for that. Oh my God.
That's going to be
professional. Thank you.
That makes your life 100% easier because you're like, and I just like before the interview, usually I just send them an email like 3 days before. And I'll be like, hey, thank you for being interested in the interview. Please fill out this guest form. And then I send them like, if I used to get my guests from IG, I send them a message on IG. Hey, please, can you complete the form? I send it to your email. That's it. I just got that down. So I would say I would share that with anybody who's doing interview-based podcasts. That cuts the bullshit in half.
So what's the best advice you would give to your younger self?
Man, listen. Damn, that's a good question. Be close to your family. Like learn more from the people around you and stop being such a little dick. Like actually sit down with these elders and learn from them instead of trying to despise them and trying to manipulate them and trying to go around them and trying to get away with some shit. Like I think one thing I really regret is not knowing my family as well as I did, as well as I should have been. That was one thing that I really, really regret. Now I think I have an okay relationship, but I could have had a better relationship with everybody.
Why were you so like anti-social towards them?
Because like one thing, and I tell this story. My parents, my mom was really into working, so during Sunday they would send me to my aunt and uncle who were more religious, so like they wouldn't let me watch Simpsons and shit like that,
yeah.
And I had to go to church on Sunday, so me and my sister we had to get up at church and go to this. We used to go to CLC, which is now CCC, Christian Culture Center.
Wow.
So I saw the elevation of them grow from nothing to something, and we used to go there. And during that time, I was like, why the fuck I gotta go here? I don't want to go to fucking church. Like, I hate this place. Like, everything like that. Like, and not knowing now, my mother was trying to instill me value.
Yeah.
She was trying to give me like, hey, go here with your aunts and uncles and learn something while I'm going and working my ass off. You know what I'm saying? And she needed a break. You know, she had 2 kids. We were 3 years apart. She needed time for herself too. So during that time, I was real like angry at her for that, and I was really angry at them because they won't let me do what I wanted to do and things like that. So I just took it out on them. Like I would not talk to them. I would be like, whatever, real like antisocial about it. And I wish I was more interactive with them because now a lot of the ideals that they gave me, like my uncle taught me how to dress. Like he taught me how to tie a tie. He taught me how to tie a bow tie. He taught me how to wear, suits and clothes and shine shoes and everything like that. He taught me all that shit. Like not my dad. Like he taught me all that shit. And now knowing that if I would have just picked his brain on a couple other things, I might have been, styling profiling before, I became, 12. Yeah, yeah, woo. And it was but yeah, that was kind of so that's where that is. I'm going to have to wrap it up soon because I have somebody crying downstairs.
I'll make this really brief, man. You're a family man. How long you been married, and how many kids do you have?
I'm not married.
2 more questions, and we're gonna wrap
it
up.
I'm not married, and I have 4-year-old and a a 6-week-old.
Wow, man. So how's it feel to be a dad?
It has its ups and downs. It's the most wonderful, amazing, glorious, transcendent, hard, ungrateful, lowly, anxious time of my life. It has so many like ups and downs. It's just like a roller coaster. It's like some days I'm like, I just say, hey, I love this little girl, I love everything she does. And the other times I'm like, this little bitch, like, what's she doing? I hope she doesn't grow to be a bitch. I hope so. Like, I'm just like all these little things, like, but I wouldn't trade it for a goddamn world, man. And that's the thing where I didn't think I was going to be at. I wouldn't trade it for a goddamn world. Like all the traveling I could have done, all the money I could have, like I wouldn't trade it for a goddamn thing with these little motherfuckers. Like even this little motherfucker that's crying right now. Like I love him unconditionally. Unconditionally.
Wow.
To the point of sacrifice. Like I will sacrifice anything for them to have everything they want in abundance. I don't care if I have to give my left arm. I will give my left arm happily and not even think twice about it.
Wow. Well, man, that's the most positive way to end this interview. I like to end it very positive. That was real inspiring. Man, Drew, where can the audience find you, dogs?
All right, if they want to, find me, they can go to www.drewvstheworldpodcast.com. Yeah, a nigga got a website. And then you can also go to IG Drew vs. the World Podcast. And then if you want to go to Spotify, Apple, rate, listen, and review. It's on all those podcasts. Again, thank you so much for having me.
Yo, no problem, brother, man.
And it was a pleasure, and we must do this again.
Of course, man. Of course, man. It's again, man. It's gonna be good. I'm definitely gonna do that. That episode's gonna you're gonna interview me. Appreciate it. And yeah, man. So once again, everybody, it's Mr. Black Show, man. Y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay humble, man. Drew vs. the World, man. Chill. Later.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.